Friends, so you're welcome to my class. We are going to be talking briefly on glycosylated hemoglobin, which is also known as hemoglobin A1c. Hemoglobin A1c. Now, this hemoglobin test is a measure of your average blood glucose control over the previous 3 months. So you are trying to check the glucose which is in hemoglobin, which is the red blood cell. So this glucose test is used for people who are diabetic. So it is used in the management of diabetes. So it looks at the glucose level in the blood for the past 3 months. Now, for this method to be achieved, a glucose level which is over 6.5%, it is being read in percentage. A glucose level which is over 6.5% is considered to be what? Diabetes. While a range between 5.7 to 6.4% is known as pre-diabetes. Then anything less than 5.6%, from 5.6% downwards, is known as what? Normal. So remember I call this hemoglobin A1c, or is also known as glycosylated hemoglobin. Yes. So after that is used for the measurement of what? Blood glucose level for the past 3 months. Yes, if someone has certain type of hemoglobin mutation, for example, variation in the hemoglobin structure, is severely anemic, which is low red blood cell count, or is being treated blood transfusions or medications to increase the production of new red blood cells, the A1c test may not be accurate. So that's one of the limitations. When somebody is on blood transfusion, or when someone has some kind of severe anemic conditions, or when someone has anything hemoglobin mutation, like for those who have hemoglobin SS, yes, the result cannot be accurate because the red blood cell will usually get destroyed before 3 months. Yes. So the use of hemoglobin A1c as a diagnostic tool is controversial. Say yes, it is controversial because say currently only the American Diabetic Association endorses the use of A1c for diabetes diagnosis, because of course it has its own limitations. I think we've talked about some of the limitations that it has. But otherwise, it is used for the management of diabetes because it gives us a picture of previous, even if the person, probably before going to the hospital, some persons will be very careful to watch what they eat and what they do, and make sure that they take their drugs and all. Yes. So but this one gives us a picture of their previous life. Yes, past 3 months, if they have been managing their diabetic condition properly or not. So we'll move over to lipids. So we're going to be talking briefly about lipids. What are lipids? They are hydrocarbon containing molecules that serve as structural and functional building blocks for living cells. Lipids include fats, oil, waxes, certain vitamins such as the ADEC, that is vitamin A, D, E, and K, hormones, and the majority of the non-protein portion of the cell membrane. Of course, know that lipid has so many functions. One of the functions is it serves as what? Energy storage. It serves as signaling and regulating. Yes, it helps to regulate the internal climate of the body. It gives us the heat that we require. Yes, because of the fats content of it. Okay. So lipids also provide defense and insulation. So I said it helps to provide defense and insulation. Now, under this defense, providing defense and insulation, there are two types of fats found in the human body. We have the visceral fat and the subcutaneous fat. So vital organs such as the heart, kidneys, and liver are surrounded by visceral fat, while the subcutaneous fat, or the fat beneath the skin, it protects the body from extreme temperatures and contributes to the regulation of internal climate. Yes, if you are in a cold temperature, so those fat beneath the skin help to what? Warm us up. It helps to provide insulation. It helps to provide heat for us. The lipids also are used for transportation. Of course, we know. So lipids also transportation in our body. The vitamins A, D, E, and K, commonly referred to as fat soluble vitamins, are found primarily in fatty foods. Effective absorption of fat-soluble nutrients requires what? Fat. Additionally, fats improve the what? The bioavailability of phytochemicals. You know what these phytochemicals does? It serves as as antioxidants to help to mop up what? To mop up things that are not permitted or okay in the body. So it serves as phytochemicals which are constituents of plants. Other essential nutrients such as the essential fatty acids are components of fats and serve as structural components of the cell. So there are different types of lipids, but before we get there, we'll look at what lipoproteins are, because you cannot be talking about lipids without talking about lipoproteins. Now, lipoproteins are biochemical assemblies with the primary function of what? Transporting and delivering triglycerides and cholesterol to and from target cells in a variety of organs. Lipoproteins, lipid and proteins together. You know that lipids are fatty in nature, and because the bloodstream is a medium that is made up of water, fats and water, you know, they are immiscible. So fat cannot pass through water effectively. So what happens? It has to collaborate with what? Proteins, which will now become lipoproteins in order for those fats to be transported across the water medium, which is a blood. Now, these lipids must be transported in association with proteins due to the insoluble nature of triglycerides and what? And cholesterol in water. So we have different types of these lipoprotein. But before then, quickly look at the function of lipoprotein. We have talked about one. We said it's what? It's used for transportation. In fact, that's the major one. Yes. So due to the insoluble nature of lipids such as cholesterol and triglycerides in water, lipids you are what? They must be transported in the bloodstream in association with what? Protein. So it's used in form of transportation. That is one for lipoprotein. Now, to avoid toxicity, large amounts of fatty acids from meals must be transported as what? Triglycerides. The function of lipoprotein is essential for the small intestines absorption and transport of dietary lipids. Now, a secondary function is to transport toxic foreign hydrophobic and amphipathic compounds from areas of invasion and infection, such as bacterial endotoxin. So it functions to what? To transport toxic materials at areas where there is infection. Yes, such as bacteria endotoxin. So look at different types of lipoproteins. We have the low density lipoproteins, we have the very low density lipoproteins, we have the intermediate density lipoproteins, we have the high density lipoproteins. Yes. So these are some of the examples of lipoproteins. So lipoproteins are classified into 5 types in the blood, which are chylomicrons, very low density lipoproteins, intermediate density lipoproteins, low density lipoproteins, and the high density lipoproteins. I know that the low density and the high density lipoproteins are two very major ones when it concerns human beings. The low density lipoprotein, which is also known as the bad cholesterol, is the one that transports what? Bad cholesterol in the body. Those cholesterol that are capable of damaging the heart. While the good cholesterol, which is the HDL, high density lipoprotein, help to mop up the low density lipoproteins. It helps to mop up bad cholesterol from the body so that one can stay healthy. Now, while all lipoproteins share this basic structure and contain the same 4 components, their relative amounts of these components, their overall size, and their functions differ. Now, except for chylomicrons, the lipoproteins are named according to their density. Protein is the densest of the 4 components of lipoproteins, while triglycerides are the least dense. Now, because they contain more protein and fewer triglycerides, high density lipoproteins are the densest lipoproteins. Chylomicrons have the lowest density to their high triglyceride content and low protein content. So we'll just quickly, before we end the class, we'll quickly come and look at I've said a little thing about different types of lipoprotein. So we can read more on it. We'll come and quickly look at in our next class lipoprotein disorders briefly, so that we can now talk about protein metabolism. See you in my next class.